In this tutorial, we'll be taking a look at adding a font to eFORMz. I have open on the screen Google Fonts, and these are open source fonts. And I want to add one of these fonts to eFORMz. And to do that, the first thing that I'm going to do, and you would do this with any font, is make sure you have the TrueType font files along with the license file. You're going to get those, and you're going to move them to your Minisoft eFORMz 6 fonts folder. So let's go ahead and do that here. I want to add the Lato font here to eFORMz. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select for quick use and add it to my collection here. And then I'm going to select the little download button. And I want to download Lato as a zip file. And there it is. I'll go ahead and left click that. And it's open. So I have all the TrueType font files for the Lato font family. I have the license agreement here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them over to my Minisoft eFORMz 6 fonts folder right here. So I'll go ahead and select all those and drag them to the fonts folder. And if I select the fonts folder and scroll down here, you can see all the Lato fonts, or rather the Lato font with all of the different attributes, and then of course we have the license file here, which is a requirement with any font you're adding to eFORMz. Please add the license file or some sort of copyright information or proof of ownership as you add with every font. So once we have that, what we'll need to do is we'll need to go to the Minisoft eFORMz 6 folder. So move one folder up and find the font specs user XML file. We'll go ahead and open this, and you can open it in any text editor, your preferred editor. I'm opening it up here in Notepad++. And as you see, it has the fonts declaration, and you can add a font to this. So how do you add that Lato font declaration here? Well, if I go back to Windows Explorer, I can open up my font specs XML file. I'll go ahead and open that one up as well. You see, this is where all of the character sets, and if you scroll down here, you'll start seeing the fonts that are default eFORMz fonts. And what we can do is if we just copy one of these font declarations, and this one's for Courier, and in fact, actually, I'm going to copy, because I'm using a proportional font, I'm going to copy Arial. So if we copy this declaration here and go back to font specs user and just paste it in, excellent. We have the declaration outline, if you will. What we're going to do here is we're going to change it from Arial to Lato. So kind of a shortcut here. And you can keep spacing, pitch factor just fine. Viewer font, of course, we'll want to name that Lato or whatever the font name is that you're going to be using. Here's where it gets a little tricky, PostScript font. This is just kind of an inexact science, if you will. You want to kind of match up the font that you're adding relative to this, so bold. You can choose the PDF fonts, PostScript font. You see an italic here, you'll match that up with your italic font. So let's go ahead and go back to my Minisoft eFORMz 6 fonts folder here. And here I've got all the names of my Lato fonts. And so what I'm going to do is I see Arial MT. I'm just going to use, Lato regular for this. So you can go ahead and copy that. And I'm just going to paste that in there. It is case sensitive, so make sure that you're aware of that. For the bold, we'll just do Lato bold here. And copy that. And we'll go ahead and paste there. That's good. Try to see if I have any other, there's another bold thing here. There is, PDF bold font. And you can just put fonts, keep the fonts there, and then just add that. And as a matter of fact, if I undo that, I want to keep the TTF. So there you go. There it is. That's better. And so we've got that. If we go ahead and move over, PostScript font, we'll see that we have a couple others here. Italic, we'll go ahead and pick that one up. And replace the italic with that. And we'll replace the italic here. Keep that TTF there. And we'll go ahead and pick up the Lato regular, because I see one more spot where that needs to go. It needs to go right here, just for the regular Arial. We'll place that with Lato regular. And we're looking pretty close. Looks like we just have to do the bold italic. So we'll get that. Copy that. And go ahead and replace that in a couple of spots there. And we're good. Looks like I've got all of them. Lato, looking pretty good. So we'll go ahead and save that in the font specs user. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up the composer. And let's open a sample project here just so we can see the font. We'll go ahead and open this project up. This is a nice sample. And if I right click my form and go to Properties and Font, see this is using Arial. Well, if I scroll down, there's Lato. We have a new font in here. And I'll go ahead and select OK. And the font will have changed in certain locations, as you see, where I'm using that Arial font. Now, it looks like in this project I have a lot of local font changes. It looks like I'm bolding some things. So if I go to my document template, right-click, and select Edit and Font, you'll see it's automatic here. And if I go, let's change a particular instance. Let's right-click this font, and we'll see it's not automatic, which is why it's still Arial. If I select automatic, it'll move over to Lato. So that is just a brief look at how you would add a font to eFORMz.